Hey, good day, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Andrew's Life. I am going to be driving through the east end of Montgomery, Alabama. Now, this side of town is going to be one of Montgomery's better parts of the city. This is where a lot of your higher end businesses are going to be located. And off the top of my head, I don't know of any specific 5-star restaurants that are here in Montgomery, but if there are any 5-star restaurants here in Montgomery, this side of town is going to be most likely where you'll find those type of restaurants. Now, if you're looking to visit Montgomery and you're on a budget and you're looking for a hotel to stay at, yeah, like I was saying, if you're looking for a hotel to stay at on a budget, I personally would advise you to look at some of the hotels on this side of town, given that this side of town is going to be one of your safer parts of Montgomery to live in. Now, this side of Montgomery is going to be a little more, it's not going to necessarily be the most expensive side of the city to live, but it's not going to be the cheapest either. I would say on this side of town, your average home prices are going to be, I'll say if you want to live on this side of town, be prepared to spend a minimum of $150,000. Now, when you look at the housing prices nationally, $150,000 is not a lot of money, especially in this housing market. But $150,000 is a big deal for many people that are living here in Montgomery, given the fact that your wages here in Alabama are not all that high, as I've discussed on the Truth About the South video. So anyhow, if you're wanting to move to Montgomery and you want to live on this side of Montgomery, be prepared to spend at least $150,000 on a house. Now, that's not to say that there's not houses around here that are a little lower than 150. There probably are a few. But I would say to be on the safe side, be prepared to spend at least $150,000. Now, on this side of town, there are some nice parks that you'll find along the way. There's a couple of nice parks. There's one smaller one, which is a mile or so from here. And then if you go up the street a little further, there'll be a much bigger one, which will have a nice size walking trail and all that fun stuff for those of you that like to be outside a lot. Now over here, you'll find the smaller park that I'm talking about. You got a little walking trail. And plus there's a little shelter area to have your picnics around here. So don't mean to make you guys dizzy, but got the athletic center over there. See, you can see the shelter. Now I have done videos over here before, like when I was down here a year and a half ago. I've done maybe 1 or 2 videos over in this park. So feel free to go on my channel and check them out. I think the videos were about what you would do if you were living in your vehicle and you needed a place to go and practice some good hygiene. I think that was what the video was about. So I forgot what the name of the video was, but if you go on my channel, if you go towards the beginning of when I first created my channel, you'll find those videos. Because like I told you guys before, my channel actually began here in Montgomery, not up in Indiana. It wasn't until I got to Indiana, however, that people started watching my channel and I started getting some love and subscribers and all that type of good stuff. But my channel really began here in Alabama, here in Montgomery. Yeah, if I keep driving down this street, then I'll run into the other park that's a lot bigger. And it has a much bigger walking trail. We're going to check out some upscale communities here. And, you know, typically on this channel, I try to refrain from talking about issues that are race related. But just for a second here, I just want to share something. Now, many of us that have been through the American school system. We all heard all the negative history of the South and how black people were treated, how black people were held back, and many of us continue to hear of how black people continue to be held back, and how as a people we got the least amount of wealth. The home ownership rate of blacks are lower than any other ethnicity. I mean, which that is very true. But I do gotta say, this neighborhood I'm driving you guys through right now, for those of you that are not familiar with Alabama, for those of you that may not be familiar with the Deep South, and maybe you're assuming that these upscale communities I'm driving you guys through are predominantly white, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know that you are dead wrong. I mean, there's a lot of upscale communities here in Montgomery where you do have a significant amount of African Americans who live in them. How do I know? Because I've been in them. Like when I come here and I work the delivery apps, I see it every day. So, and I say this because in this day and age, you know, given that we're in the age of the internet, the age of technology, and given what my ancestors and even the ancestors of some white folks have done to enable people like me to be free to make whatever choice that we want to make in terms of how we desire to live our life. Thanks to all those people who look like me, along with anybody else, gets to make choices, and we get to live however we want to live. This community I'm driving you guys through right now, like I said, this is not a predominantly white community. I mean, this community is full of African Americans. Just like that woman. This community is full of African Americans who are coming to places like these, buying up a lot of these houses. I mean, a lot of people who are coming out here, I mean, they've most likely worked hard, got the proper education, learned the proper skills, and, you know, they worked hard, maybe worked hard at creating a business. And at the end of the day, this is how they get to live, due to their hard work, due to their hard work. This is how they get to live. So, for those of you that are not familiar with the Deep South, and you're not familiar with Alabama, if you come visit the Deep South or Alabama, understand that, or if you want to move to the Deep South, understand that your race is not going to stop you from doing what you need to do to become successful. Your race is not going to be a deterrence of how you live the rest of your life. The only thing that's going determine that is your attitude and your ambition or lack thereof. Because like I said, I mean, I would even go on a limb and tell you guys that the majority of these houses are going to be owned by black families. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm fairly confident that the majority of the people who own these houses are black families. So this is just to show you folks that you can come down here in the Deep South as a black man, as a black woman, and be successful. You can come down here and make it happen for yourself. No excuses. Look at all these nice houses. Now, I will say that some of these, I mean, I'm not positive if this community has an association or not. Now, I will say if this community has an association, I would suggest you not move here, because I've already told you guys on several other of my videos of what I think about associations. I think they're a bunch of crooks. And there's endless amounts of stories on the internet, whether it be YouTube or other internet media sources, that if you read or you listen to those stories, you will find that there's many people that have been victims of the criminal activity done by association companies. You know, people might get a fine for their grass being too long. This something stupid. And then of course by the time they find out that they got all these fines, it's too late, because by then a lot of times the association is going to have began the foreclosing process on the person's home. And now when that person tries to pay the fine, they may have the money to pay the fine, but they're most likely not going to have the money to pay all the fees to get their home out of foreclosure. So, needless to say, I personally would never buy a house that was in a community that had an association. And I would advise you guys to not buy a house in a community with an association. But besides that, like I said, this community I'm driving you guys through, I mean, here you got another black family. You can see that girl was out cutting the yard. So, like I said, I would say the majority of these houses are owned by black families. So this just goes to show you folks that Atlanta, Georgia is not the only city in the Deep South where black people are able to move to and win. You don't have to move to Atlanta. You don't have to move to Houston. You don't have to move to the Carolina. You don't have to move to North Carolina. You can come down here in the Deep South and other places other than Georgia if you want to. And as a black person, as an African American, you can still win. You can still be successful. You can come down here to Alabama and be successful. You don't have to move to Atlanta if you don't want to. You can move here to Montgomery and be successful. Just saying. No disrespect to Atlanta. No disrespect to Texas or North Carolina. I just want to point that out, because for those of you that are For those of you that only read certain type of media, thinking that those sources are the only sources that tell the truth and everyone else is full of shit, I'm just here to let you guys know that some of the media sources that you guys read, they're just as full of shit as anybody else sometimes. And I would say for African Americans, especially African Americans, 2022 needs to be the year of no excuses. Self-improvement, no excuses. See, that neighborhood I just showed you just goes to prove that when you put your mind to whatever it is you're going to put your mind to, good things can happen at the end of the tunnel. I mean, good things can happen and good things will be waiting for you at the end of the tunnel. All you gotta do is put that work in. Like, honestly, I tell myself that every day when I get up out of bed. If I want to have it to where I start getting paid to make these type of videos, then I need to put that work in. I need to show up on a regular basis. The more I show up, the better I'll do in terms of the growth of my channel. Same thing with when I work these delivery apps like Uber Eats and DoorDash and Grubhub. I mean, now I can go on and on. If I allow these apps be playing games and they be messing with people's money and shit like that, but I still do believe at the end of the day, if I put that work in and I stay dedicated to the hustle and I stay dedicated to creating a lifestyle to where I can be as free as possible, then at the end of the tunnel, there'll be something. At the end of the tunnel, there'll be, there'll be some good stuff waiting for me. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, came and freaking talk. But anyways, yeah, at the end of the tunnel, there'll be good things waiting for me. So every day when I wake up, I gotta tell myself the same thing that I'm telling you guys. No excuses. In 2022, the only person that's holding me back is myself. Oh, and by the way, this is the other park that I was talking about, which is a lot bigger. Now, for those of you that are pet owners, this park does have a dog park. I mean, there is an area in this park to where you can put your dogs in and you can let them loose if you want. But yeah, this park is the bigger park that I was talking about. And I would say that this part of Montgomery is going to have the highest percentage of Asians, Koreans, well, I would say Asians. Yeah, this side of Montgomery is going to most likely have the highest percentage of Asians. And another thing I'm going to say, and I believe I said it before, but I'm going to say this again. I mean, you know, the Deep South is also known for some of the heaviest people. The Deep South is also known for the worst of the worst problems with morbid obesity. And this right here is the dog park that I was talking about a minute ago. But anyways, like I was saying, the Deep South also is known for some of the heaviest people in the country. Now, I'm going to say that if you're a health nut and you like to stay healthy, you like to stay fit, I mean, I probably shouldn't really have to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. But if you choose to move here to Montgomery, you can continue to be a health nut. You can continue to exercise. And I just got done showing you, folks, there are plenty of places outdoors where you can come and get your exercise. And there is also and also Montgomery has got some of the best fitness centers too. Montgomery has got some of the best fitness centers, by the way. They got Crunch Fitness, which ain't too far from this area, which is a 24-hour-a-day gym. So if you're into health, or if you're wanting to be healthier, there's absolutely no excuse for you not to do that. None. Zero. So whatever it is you want to do, however it is you want to live your life, you can do all that right here in Montgomery, Alabama. You can do all that right here in Alabama. But I'm going to talk about Montgomery because I'm in Montgomery right now. But however it is you want to live your life, you can live it right here. You can live it right here in Montgomery. Like I said, you ain't got to go to Atlanta. You ain't got to go to Charlotte or you ain't got to go to Nashville. You can do what you do right here in the M. For those of you that are wanting to live in the metro and you're wanting to move to Alabama, now here are some other houses that are a little smaller and they're a little lower in price than the ones I've showed you earlier. I would say one of these houses will probably take you back a couple $100,000, I'm gonna guess. The area that I drove you guys through earlier, I would say the average price of those houses are gonna be closer to $300,000. These houses, I would say, they'll take you back at least 150, many of them 200. And again, if I'm wrong, leave a comment below. Let me know that I'm wrong, and then give me a ballpark figure that's more accurate if I'm wrong. Alright folks, I'm going to end it right here. And I'm going to do a short video just showing you guys just the more affordable houses on the side of Montgomery. So I will see you guys on that video.